Life is not shaped by the grand events we wait for, but by the small choices we repeat every day, the steps we take in silence, the little things we do when no one is watching. These are the seeds of transformation. A mountain is climbed not by leaps, but by the steady placement of one foot before the other. When people think of transformation, they often imagine a single powerful event, a burst of energy, a sudden decision, or a dramatic breakthrough. But real change rarely happens this way. It is not the lightning strike that reshapes the mountain, but the steady fall of rain, drop by drop, over many years. Consistency, not intensity, is the true architect of transformation. If you decide today to train for 5 hours in one session, your body may feel exhausted, but your life will remain unchanged. Yet if you choose to train for just 20 minutes every day, that rhythm maintained over weeks and months will reshape your body, your mind, and your spirit. One great effort may impress others for a moment, but it is the repeated, quiet discipline that creates lasting strength. Consistency builds trust within yourself. Each time you show up, even for a short practice, you prove to your own mind that you are reliable. Intensity often burns out quickly. It sparks a fire that dies as soon as the fuel runs out. But consistency is like keeping a small flame alive. Each day you add a piece of wood, and over time it becomes a fire that cannot be extinguished. It is not about how much you do in a single day, but about what you can continue to do tomorrow and the day after that. A single drop of water seems powerless, yet millions of drops carve valleys and shape landscapes. In the same way, small, consistent actions, reading a few pages, breathing mindfully for a few minutes, taking a short walk, create changes that are invisible at first, but undeniable over time. Consistency also teaches humility. It reminds us that growth cannot be rushed. It forces us to respect the process, to honor the rhythm of time. Instead of chasing instant results, consistency allows you to surrender to patience. It is the steady heartbeat of progress, guiding you forward, step by step, without the need for drama or display. And so, while intensity may seem impressive, it is fleeting. The true power lies in what you return to every single day, without excuse and without interruption. That is where transformation lives, not in the grand gesture, but in the quiet repetition of small, deliberate acts. Before any change can happen, there must first be awareness. Without awareness, life moves on like a flowing river, carrying us with it, and we do not even realize which direction we are being taken. Awareness is the light that reveals where we stand, what we do, and who we are becoming. Without this light, habits remain invisible, and invisible habits hold the most power over us. Most people act without thinking. They wake up, repeat the same actions, speak the same words, and follow the same patterns day after day. These routines feel natural, but they are not always chosen. They are inherited from yesterday, from the environment, from unconscious repetition. Awareness breaks this cycle. It allows you to pause and ask, why am I doing this? Does this serve me? Does this lead me toward the person I want to become? Awareness is not only about watching your habits, it is about watching your thoughts, your emotions, and your reactions. When you feel anger rising, awareness allows you to see it before it controls you. When you feel distracted, awareness allows you to notice and return to focus. In this way, awareness is like a mirror showing you the truth of yourself without judgment. And with this truth, you gain the freedom to choose. Even the smallest action becomes powerful when done with awareness. Drinking a glass of water mindfully is not the same as drinking it while lost in thought. One act is automatic, the other is alive. Walking while paying attention to each step is different from walking while the mind is elsewhere. Awareness turns the ordinary into a practice of growth. It transforms simple habits into intentional rituals. Without awareness, time slips away unnoticed. You may spend hours scrolling, talking without meaning, eating without tasting, and at the end of the day wonder where your energy went. But with awareness, you begin to notice these leaks of attention and you can redirect them. Suddenly, you find space to create new habits, to use your energy with purpose, and to bring clarity into your life. Awareness is the starting point of all change because it shows you what needs to change. You cannot break a habit you do not see. You cannot create a new path while blind to the one you are walking. Awareness opens your eyes, and once your eyes are open, you can no longer pretend not to see. That is where the possibility of transformation begins. Confidence is not something that arrives all at once. It is not gifted to you by others, nor does it appear suddenly when circumstances change. True confidence is built quietly through the accumulation of small victories that no one else may even notice. Every time you set a small goal and fulfill it, you strengthen the belief that you are capable. This belief, repeated again and again, becomes an inner foundation that cannot be shaken easily. When you make a promise to yourself, even a tiny one, and you keep it, something important happens inside. You are teaching yourself that your words and actions are aligned. You are proving that you can rely on yourself. Imagine deciding to drink water instead of soda for just one day. At first, it feels insignificant, but as you follow through, your mind registers that you have acted on your choice. That small act becomes a message. I can trust myself. The more often you send this message, the stronger it becomes, and soon it grows into a quiet confidence that you carry in every area of your life. The mistake many people make is to wait for big achievements before they allow themselves to feel confident. They believe confidence will appear after they have earned a degree, built a career, or transformed their body. But confidence is not the result of large outcomes. It is the result of small consistencies. You do not need to run a marathon to feel capable. You only need to lace your shoes and go for a walk every day. You do not need to write a book to call yourself a writer. Writing one page every morning is already proof that you are living that identity. Each small win is like a brick. Alone, a single brick seems unimportant. But when laid one after another, day after day, those bricks become a strong wall, a structure that cannot be moved. Confidence works the same way. One tiny victory may not seem like much, but the steady layering of these victories creates a fortress of inner strength. This is why small wins matter so much more than occasional large ones. Large wins are rare and unpredictable, but small wins can be repeated daily. They are always within reach. Another hidden power of small wins is that they generate momentum. When you experience one small success, you are naturally motivated to pursue another success. No matter how small, creates a feeling of progress. And progress is addictive. It gives you energy, it sharpens your focus, and it encourages you to keep moving forward. A person who starts by reading 1 page a day often finds themselves reading 10 pages, then 20, not because they forced themselves, but because the small act created momentum. What begins small does not stay small when repeated with intention. Small wins also reshape the way you see yourself. Every time you act with discipline, you are rewriting your self-image. If you constantly break promises to yourself, you begin to feel weak, unreliable, and incapable. But when you follow through, even in the smallest way, you begin to see yourself as disciplined, capable, and strong. This new self-image fuels your behavior, and your behavior reinforces your self-image. It becomes a cycle of growth, powered by victories so small they often go unnoticed by others. Confidence built on small wins is different from confidence built on external achievements. External confidence can be shaken when circumstances change. If your confidence depends on applause, it disappears when the applause stops. But confidence built on small, consistent actions is unshakable because it comes from within. No one can take away the fact that you kept showing up, that you honored your own word, that you chose discipline over excuses. That history of small wins lives inside you as evidence. It becomes proof that you can trust yourself even when the world around you is uncertain. And so, small wins are not trivial. They are the hidden steps that carry you toward greater strengths. They may look ordinary on the surface, but inside they are building extraordinary resilience. Every time you choose the small action that serves your growth, you are quietly shaping the foundation of unshakable confidence. Over time, these moments accumulate, and what once seemed impossible begins to feel natural, because you have already proven to yourself again and again that you can take the next step forward. Our daily habits are not just actions we perform, they are reflections of who we are becoming. Every repeated action carves a path in the mind and strengthens an identity within us. What you do again and again becomes who you are, whether you realize it or not. This is why it is said that we do not rise to the level of our goals, but rather fall to the level of our habits. Dreams may inspire us, but it is habits that shape us. When you read every day, you are not simply turning pages, you are becoming a reader. When you choose to exercise regularly, you are not just moving your body, you are becoming a disciplined person. When you meditate consistently, you are not just sitting in silence, you are becoming someone who carries peace within. The actions may seem small, but repeated often enough, they merge with your identity until they no longer feel like something you do. They feel like something you are. This is why goals on their own are not enough. Goals are important, but they are temporary. A person may set the goal of running a marathon, but once the race is finished, what happens then? If the identity of being a runner has not been cultivated, the shoes are put away and the habit fades. But if the habit of running has been repeated long enough, the person does not stop after the marathon. Running has become part of who they are, and so they continue even without the race. Identity is powerful because it influences every decision you make. If you see yourself as someone who is disciplined, the choice to wake up early becomes natural. If you see yourself as someone who is healthy, choosing nourishing food feels aligned with who you are. But if you see yourself as someone who is lazy or unfocused, even small actions that could help you will feel heavy, because they conflict with the identity you hold inside. The key is to consciously build habits that align with the identity you wish to embody. Every habit you keep is like casting a vote for the type of person you want to become. One act of honesty is a vote for being an honest person. One act of kindness is a vote for being compassionate. One day of practice is a vote for being disciplined. Alone, one vote does not decide the outcome. But the more votes you cast, the clearer your identity becomes. Eventually, the evidence piles up, and your mind begins to accept this is who I am. The challenge is that identity can be shaped in both directions. Just as positive habits can create a strong identity, negative habits can also define you. Skipping commitments, speaking harshly, wasting time, all of these habits, repeated often enough, tell your mind a story about who you are. The question is not whether habits will shape you. They will. The real question is, are they shaping you into the person you want to be? This is why awareness and intention are so important. If you want to transform your identity, you must choose small habits that reflect the version of yourself you wish to become. Instead of saying, I want to be a patient person, begin by practicing one small act of patience each day. Instead of saying, I want to be a disciplined person, focus on keeping one small promise to yourself. Over time, these actions create undeniable evidence and your identity shifts naturally. When habits and identity are aligned, life becomes lighter. You no longer need to force yourself into action because the actions flow from who you are. A musician does not struggle to pick up the instrument because playing is simply what they do. A caring person does not struggle to help others because kindness is simply who they are. When identity takes root, effort becomes expression. And so, habits are not merely tools for achieving goals, they are the silent architects of the self. Each day, through repetition, you are building the foundation of your identity. The question to ask yourself is simple. With every small action, who am I becoming? Time is the one element that is always moving. Whether we act or not, it is a river that flows without pause, carrying us from one day to the next. We cannot control its movement, but we can decide what we place into it. The compound effect of time is the quiet law that magnifies every choice we make. If we plant seeds of discipline, time will nurture them into forests of strength. If we neglect the ground and plant nothing, time will allow weeds to grow and spread. In both cases, time does its work faithfully. The difference lies only in what we give it to multiply. When you perform a small positive action once, the change is almost invisible. Reading one page of a book will not make you wise. Saving one coin will not make you wealthy. Taking one mindful breath will not bring you peace. But the power of these actions is not in what they create today, it is in what they create when repeated tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that. Time multiplies effort. A single drop of water cannot carve a stone, but drops falling steadily for years will cut through mountains. The compound effect teaches us that nothing is wasted. Each repetition leaves a mark, even if we cannot see it. Every healthy meal strengthens the body a little. Every training session adds to endurance. Every page read adds to knowledge. The individual act may feel insignificant, but time is recording it, adding it to the total, and preparing a result that is far greater than the sum of its parts. The danger is that because the effect is slow, we easily underestimate it. We think small choices do not matter, yet time is always magnifying them, whether for growth or for decline. Consider the habits that harm us. Skipping one workout does not destroy health. Eating one unhealthy meal does not create illness. Spending 1 hour distracted does not ruin a career. But when these choices are repeated, day after day, time magnifies them as well. Just as small positive actions accumulate into strength, small negative ones accumulate into weakness. Time does not favor one direction over the other. It simply multiplies whatever it is given. This is why awareness of small daily actions is so important. The results you experience in the future are simply the harvest of seeds planted in the past. Time's compound effect also teaches patience. In a world that celebrates speed and instant results, it is easy to become discouraged when change is not immediate. But true transformation is not sudden. It is gradual, often invisible in the moment. The person who practices an instrument daily may feel no progress for months, but one day without realizing it, their hands move with ease. The person who saves a small amount of money each week may feel it is too little to matter until one day they look at their savings and realize it has become a source of security. This is the gift of time. It allows effort to mature into something greater. Time also reveals the honesty of our actions. Can pretend to be disciplined for a day or motivated for a week, but only over time does the truth show itself. Habits that are shallow will fade quickly. Habits that are deeply chosen will endure. The compound effect does not care about appearances. It only responds to what is repeated. That is why the small, quiet, unseen habits are often the most powerful. They do not need recognition, because time itself will reveal their strengths. If you understand the compound effect of time, you begin to treat every day with respect. You realize that today is not just another day, it is an investment. Every choice, no matter how small, is like placing something into the river of time. The river does not forget. It carries everything forward, magnifies it, and returns it to you in the future. This understanding brings both responsibility and empowerment. Responsibility, because you cannot escape the consequences of your repeated choices. Empowerment, because no effort is wasted. Every small step is building something greater. In the end, the compound effect of time is not about extraordinary effort. It is about ordinary effort, repeated consistently and allowed to mature. Time is the partner that works silently beside you, multiplying what you give it. If you honor this law, you will find that even the smallest actions, when carried by the river of time, lead to extraordinary results. The most challenging part of building small habits is the silence in which they grow. In the beginning, you may wake up earlier, you may train daily, you may eat with discipline, and yet when you look in the mirror or measure your progress, nothing seems to have changed. This silence is what causes so many to give up. They expect instant results, and when they do not see them, they lose faith. But the truth is that growth, like nature, has its own rhythm. Seeds planted today will not bear fruit tomorrow. They must rest in the soil unseen, while roots are quietly taking hold. Patience is the bridge between the actions you take and the results you wish to see. Without patience, every effort feels wasted. With patience, every effort becomes a step forward, even if you cannot yet see where the path is leading. When you practice a small habit, you are not just changing the present moment, you are laying the foundation for a future transformation that has not yet revealed itself. This requires trust. Trust in the process, trust in time, and trust in yourself. The silence of progress is not empty. It is a hidden space where change is slowly forming. Think of water dripping on stone for days, for months, for years. Nothing seems to happen. Yet one day the stone is marked, shaped, and eventually divided. The stone does not remember the single drop that caused the break, because it was not a single drop, it was the accumulation of many drops patiently falling that created the transformation. The same is true for habits. No single action will change your life overnight, but repeated in silence, they will shape you completely. Patience is also a form of strength. In a culture that worships speed and constant achievement, the ability to wait is often misunderstood as weakness. But to wait with discipline, to keep acting without demanding immediate reward, requires deep resilience. It means you are no longer a slave to quick results or the opinions of others. Instead, you become rooted like a tree, unmoved by the passing winds of impatience. You know that growth is happening beneath the surface even if others cannot see it. Another lesson of patience is humility. It teaches us that we cannot control everything. We may plant the seed, water the soil, and give it sunlight, but the growth of the plant is not in our hands. In the same way, we can show up daily, perform our habits faithfully, and commit ourselves fully, but the timing of visible results belongs to life itself. Humility allows us to release the need to control outcomes and focus instead on controlling what we can, our effort, our consistency, and our mindset. There is also a quiet beauty in the waiting, in the silence of practice. You begin to discover yourself more deeply. When the world does not reward you immediately, you learn whether your motivation is true or only dependent on results. If you continue without recognition, it means you are acting from inner conviction rather than external validation. This inner strength developed in silence becomes unshakable. It means that when the results finally appear, they are not the reason you continued, they are simply the fruit of what you already became. The invisible phase of growth is the most dangerous because it is the place where most people give up. They mistake silence for failure, patience for wasted time. But those who endure, those who continue to water the seed even when nothing has sprouted, eventually witness the transformation. And when it comes, it feels sudden, as if overnight the plant grew, as if overnight the skill appeared, as if overnight the body changed. But in truth, it was the silent work of countless days, stitched together by patience, that made the result possible. Small habits demand this kind of patience because their rewards are not immediate. They are slow, subtle, and cumulative. At first, you may not notice the difference between practicing or skipping a day, between choosing discipline or neglect, but time notices. And when patience accompanies time, the results are inevitable. The silence you endure in the beginning is not emptiness, it is the quiet space where transformation gathers its strength. And so, patience and silence are not obstacles on the path of growth, they are the path itself. They teach us to act without clinging to reward, to trust without constant proof, and to persist without applause. Those who learn to endure the silence and those who honor the slow unfolding of time are the ones who discover that small habits, faithfully practiced, eventually lead to the greatest transformations of all. When we look back on the journey of growth, it becomes clear that greatness is not born from sudden leaps, but from the quiet persistence of small steps. Consistency teaches us to show up even when motivation fades. Awareness opens our eyes to the patterns that shape our lives. Small wins remind us that every promise kept builds an inner strength no one can take away. Habits slowly shape our identity, turning action into character. Time multiplies every choice, rewarding the patient and exposing the careless and silence. Together with patience teaches us that true transformation does not rush. It unfolds when the moment is ready. The lesson is simple yet profound. What you do each day is more powerful than what you dream of doing someday. Small habits, repeated faithfully, carry within them the seed of extraordinary results. If you can honor the little actions, the unseen victories, the patient silence, you will find that one day, without even realizing it, you have become the person you once aspired to be. So do not underestimate the power of the small. It is the quiet steps taken consistently that lead to the highest peaks. And when you reach that peak, you will see clearly it was never the grand gestures that changed your life. It was the small habits lived every day that brought you there.